Good morning. So I hope you have gone through the patterns uh, video. So let's move on, and today we are going to learn methods, Java methods. Okay. So methods is nothing but certain set of instructions which you want them to be executed. So and repeatedly, like you have to reuse the set of instructions. Those set of instructions we put it in under a block, and that block we give a name that is nothing but the method name. Okay. So a method is a block of code which only runs when it is called. You can pass data known as parameters into a method. Methods are used to perform certain actions, and they are also known as functions. Now basically a method has got a certain task to perform. Okay, so if you want to add two numbers, then we write a method for adding two numbers. If you want to subtract, then we write a method for subtracting. So a method is a block of code which has got a purpose to do. Okay, and when it runs when it is being called. Okay, we can pass certain parameters to a method. Okay, like how now you are solving executing your Java programs. In that for every program, if you are passing a parameter to a variable, then you when you are running the program, you are passing a parameter. So those are nothing but the parameters which we pass to a methods. Methods are used to perform certain actions, and they are also known as functions. And why we have to use methods? To reuse the code. Okay, define the code once and use it as many times. So instead of repeating the lines of code, we can put all those things in a method and call it whenever we want. So now we will see how a method is been declared and defined. A method is defined inside any class. Okay, method definition is as follows. You are having the methods are defined in the same in this way. The access specifier, a static keyword. Now static keyword is optional over here, but now as we are starting with methods and we are going to we haven't started creating objects, so we will create static methods. Now I'll tell you why a method should be static. First we'll just concentrate on the definition. So you are having access specifier. Access specifiers are nothing but default, public, private, protected. These are the access specifiers. Static is a keyword. The return type. Okay, now if and the method name. Now if a method is performing like adding two numbers, subtracting two numbers, so it will return us the answer. Okay, so the answer is nothing but a data which it is returning, which will be having some type associated with it. Okay, so return type is any data type, or if it is not returning any value, it is void. So it is not mandatory that a method should return a value, but if it is not returning, we have to mention the method return type as void. Okay, the method name is as per the any name you can give as per the definition. Like most of the time when we use the name of the method, we always stick to the task what that method is going to do, so that it is easier for us to understand what is the usage of that particular method. So a method name is there, and the parameters. Now parameters are also optional, but if you are passing any, then the data type and variable names are to be mentioned over here. Okay, and these variables are called as local parameters. So now we will see quickly an definition or an example of a method. Okay, now here you can see a class method example. Now this is my class name. Now public static is a keyword. Void means it is not going to return any value. Show is nothing but the method name. I am not having any parameters to this method at present, so I've just put it as empty, and I'm just writing a system.out.println saying that I am inside a function. Now in public static void main, again this is a method. Okay, public static void main is nothing but the name of the method, and this is the parameter. Okay, now in this method I am calling the method show. Okay, now you can see show is been declared as static. So one thing you have to keep in mind is the static methods can call any other static method directly. Okay, so here a static method is there, show, which is called in a static method main directly. Okay, So just make a note of it. Static methods can access the static any other static methods directly. Okay. Now we will just see an example of this. The same example I have written here, and I'll just execute this. So here you can see I am inside a function. You can see the output. Now what if I don't give it as static? I just give public void show. Okay, now this is not a static method. So I compile it first. Okay, now here you can see we get an error. It says that non-static method show cannot be referred from a static context. That is, I cannot access a method which is non-static from a static context is nothing but a main. Okay, but what if I want to do it? Okay, so we have to do it in another way. We need to create an object of the class method example. Okay, so till now we haven't seen how to create an object. Okay, I'll just quickly show you how an object is created. Now method example is nothing but my class name. I'll give any object name, say object, okay, equal to, and then I say new. New is a keyword over here, and method example. So when we create an object of any class, this is creating an object. Okay, so here I am creating an object. Okay, so when I create an object, then I can call the method show with the help of the object which I have created. Okay, so here I give the name of the object, and then I use the operator dot, and then the function name which or the method name which I have to call. Okay, now here you can see I am inside my function. So if you need to call any non-static methods from a static block, then you need to create an object of that particular class, and then the object name dot the method name. Okay, so we are not doing it in this way initially now. So we give the method as all the methods whichever you want to use as static. Okay, I'll just keep it for your reference, and I'll remove this object keyword over here. Okay, so now as it's static, this is going to work. Okay, so in this way this is nothing but the definition of the method, and here we are calling the method. Call the method. Now the method can be called, as I told you, n number of times. Say I say int I equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus, and in that I call the method show. Okay, this call of the method I'll just comment it. So what is happening, this show method will be getting called 5 times. So you can see this is getting called 5 times. So wherever you want, we can call the methods. Now moving ahead, now with the help of example we will see these points like method with parameters, method with return type, and what do you mean by scope of variables. So first we will see method with parameters. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Okay, my machine has got hanged for some time. Okay, so now method with a parameter. So we'll just quickly remove all these things, and we will say public static void and say max. Supposing I want to find the maximum of two numbers. Okay, so here I have declared Now you public is again the access specifier, static void is the return type, and max is the function name, and I'm passing two values. Now a and b over here are called as local parameters. That thing means the scope of the variables a and b will be limited to the function max. I won't be able to access a and b outside the function max. Okay. So what do you mean by this? That is, their scope will be between these curly braces only. Outside that, I don't know what is a and I don't know what is b. So these are called as what? Local parameters. Okay. Now I'll just write if a greater than b, then system.out.println say a is the greatest. Okay. Or else I'll write b is greatest. Okay. So here my function definition is beginning, over here it is ending, and this is just a function max which is having two parameters which is of type integer. Okay. And the parameters whichever you are passing, you have to like separate it with the help of a comma. Okay. And you can pass as many parameters you want to a function. Okay. Now I will say public static void main. This is my main, and in that I call max equal to, sorry, yeah, max, and I'm passing two values. Okay. Now this values 100 and 200, what will happen is it will locally, it will for temporary, the 100 will be getting stored in the variable a and 200 will get stored in the variable b. Now you have to see to it that depending on the how you have declared the methods, sorry, the parameters, in that fashion only you have to send the values. Like here I cannot send any double value. Okay, so this will give me an error. Okay, so this is an integer, so you have to pass an integer. Okay, or if I do something instead of this, I pass a character, this is not going to accept. So you have to stick to the method definition, what it is. It is mentioning over here that it is going to take two integers as a parameter. So it is like over here I have to pass two integers as a parameter, or it will give me an error. So let's see the output. So it is showing that 200, that is b, is greatest. Okay. Now if I am like making it more user friendly, I accept the value from the user. So I say java.util dot, I use the scanner class. Okay. And here I create an scanner object, scanner ob is equal to new scanner system.in. So with the help of, like, now I declare again two local variables over here, say x, okay, which is equal to say or maybe I say system dot out dot println enter first number, and then I say int x equal to ob dot get int. I just a minute. And integer y equal to enter second number, and integer y is equal to ob dot next int, and then I pass the values of x and y. So now here x and y are the local variables whose scope is limited to the method main. Okay, and a and b are local variables whose scope is limited to the method max. So there is a difference between this, the local parameters, and there is a concept called as global parameters that we'll do shortly. Okay, so let's try to execute it. So I'll enter the first number and it is showing 56 is the greatest. Okay, so in this way you can make it more user friendly with the help of the scanner object, accept the value from the user and pass it as a this thing parameters. Okay, now the next concept was like the method returning any value. Okay, now that the method can return any value which is again having it, which will be of some data type. Okay, so instead of void we have to mention that. So here supposing I want the max to return an integer value. Okay, that is, it will return the greatest number, whichever is the greatest, that value it will return. Okay, so here instead of system.out.println a is greatest, I'll say return is a keyword over here, return, and I say a. Okay, or if b is greatest, then return b. Okay, now when a function is or a method is returning a value, then when you're calling that particular, wherever you're calling, we have to either print the value or you have to catch it somewhere. Like what I mean to say is, like I have system.out.println, here I will say maximum of two numbers is, and then here I am calling it. Okay, so what will happen, it is returning an integer value and that integer value will get printed over here. So this is what the call of the method which is there inside the system.out.println. So you can either do it in this way, first you will do it in this way. Okay, so you can see maximum of two numbers is, it is giving the value. So that I did it, what I printed it over here, maximum of two numbers, and here what will happen, it will call, it will see there is a function call, so it will go to max and then it will perform and then it will return the value. Now see how the methods, like how it is been the data flows, like when a class is there. Okay, the static, okay, it encounters a static method, but always the class will start where it will have the main. Okay, so the execution of the class will always start where it finds the main. Okay, so inside main, one line by line it will execute the code, and wherever, this is nothing but the function call, so wherever it finds the function call, then that actual function will get called. Okay, so the function is not getting executed initially. Okay, that gets executed when you call it. Okay, so here it is getting called, so it will be called that time, this function will get executed. Now I told you one way is in this way, or I can call the max function again. Okay, I know that it is returning an integer value, so supposing I say say maximum is my variable, and I say max and I pass two values. Okay, or you can again read it and again pass it, that also can be done. Okay, so here I am saying maximum of two numbers is that value which the max function will return, that I am storing it in a variable maximum. So here I will write that variable name. So this is nothing but maximum, I am mentioning it over here. So here you can see maximum of these two numbers is 544, and the values which I had passed, it is showing the maximum of that. Okay, so I have shown you two ways how the when it is returning any value, how we can catch that value. Either you can put it in the system.out.println directly, or if further you want to do certain things with that variable, okay, or with that value, so for further you have to work on that value, then you can store it in a variable, and that variable should be of the same type as that of the return type. So here the return type is int, so the variable over here also has to be int, and then you can do whatever else you want with that variable. Okay, so these were the certain points which were there, okay, for the methods. Okay, in my next session we will do some more examples on methods. So today we have seen how to declare a method. Okay, what do you mean by a static method? Then we have seen how to pass arguments to the method, that is how to pass the parameters, we also call it as arguments. Okay, and we have seen how the method is returning any value. Okay, that is with the help of the return keywords. So I want you to just go through these points and try writing a simple program of finding maximum or minimum of two numbers, and like try writing it with the help of the methods. Okay, and in my next class I will share few more examples of this. Thank you.